two girls who may have been killed in rough sex buried on a golf course. I understand Surrey police have approached the FBI about a story connected with Prince Andrew. There's bodies being found on royal estates.
This is Andrew comforting Eugenie with Beatrice by his side. And just look at the hand. Look at the hand. Reports of deaths from rough sex, of bodies being buried at royal estates, and of the British police now in communication with the FBI over Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. Are the new Epstein revelations all legit? Or are you one of these royalists who feel that actually there is now an overwhelming attempt to undermine the British royal family and force King Charles into a new abdication crisis? Well, according to our friend Shooter Scoop, that's Rob Shooter, despite his public proclamation, King Charles still doesn't want Andrew giving evidence to the cops. Insiders telling him it is only Prince William who actually wants to see his uncle facing justice. Here's the report. Sources tell Naughty But Nice that the British royal family is not prepared to hand over Prince Andrew to police scrutiny, and behind the palace walls, protection remains firmly in place. They're still circling the wagons, one insider reveals. No one wants Andrew questioned. The instinct is still to protect. According to sources, Charles III, along with Princess Anne and Prince Edward, are all said to be soft on their brother, favouring quiet containment over confrontation. They want this managed privately, a source explains, handled internally, kept away from authorities. But there is one notable exception. As I've been reporting for some time, Prince William, the only senior royal pushing back, insisting that Andrew's ongoing presence and protection continues to damage the monarchy. William thinks Andrew is radioactive, an insider says bluntly, and that shielding him makes the whole family look complicit. Behind the scenes, the divide growing stronger. This is a generational split. One source notes William understands public accountability. The others still believe in royal immunity. Now, there's not going to be immunity for much longer if any of Andrew Lownie's new claims on the Mike Graham show start to be taken seriously by authorities. Watch.
Stories of for example, two girls who may have been killed in rough sex buried on a golf course. I understand Surrey police have approached the FBI about a story connected with Prince Andrew. There's bodies being found on royal estates. So this is getting darker and darker.
Royal YouTube sensation P-Dina is with me now. Where do you stand on this one? Do you think that now these rumours are almost so out of control and that they are being used specifically to try and undermine the British royal family, to try and force King Charles into an abdication and to get William on the throne earlier? Or actually, does William just have to say, look, Andrew, you're going to have to face justice here? All of these claims need to be investigated. I mean, the idea that there could be dead bodies on royal estates, P-Dina, takes this to a whole new level, potentially.
Shockwaves are moving through royal circles following new claims that King Charles may be shielding Prince Andrew from a full police investigation. Allegations that raise serious questions about accountability at the highest level. At the same time, author Andrew Lownie has released a bombshell new report containing explosive allegations about events connected to royal estates, adding even more pressure to an already fragile situation. Joining us is royal YouTube sensation P-Dina to break down what's being claimed, what is confirmed, and what this could mean for the monarchy going forward. Are these credible revelations that demand answers, or part of a wider storm surrounding the royal family? Like the video, subscribe for breaking royal updates, and comment below. Should there be a full independent investigation?
Absolutely, and I remember looking at that email that he was referencing. I saw it a couple of days ago, and I was just in complete shock. I think this is a situation where it's just not only the monarchy, but it's people in power in Britain, here in the States. It's, there's a lot of consequences coming to a lot of different people, and I think the monarchy is no exception to that. And there needs to be something more done about it. I think Prince William and the King. I know it may be difficult for the King, especially to have his brother be accountable and to, face perhaps questions by our government. But at this point, more needs to be done. I don't think just putting out a statement that you are with the victims is enough. This is something that is going to continue. It's been going on for years, and it's like a cancer. You're not going to get rid of this. This is spreading. It has its own legs, this story, and there is a lot of people that are affected by it. And I don't think the normal way of how the palace does things is going to make this go away. It is quite tragic. And I think at this point, the king has his illness to deal with. His closeness to his brother is not putting him in a good light, considering these allegations. And William, I think, needs to start taking more of a front role to the monarchy, and the king needs to somewhat, I think, step back and focus on his health. This can't be good for his health at all. But he needs to be more accountable. I know that's what's being said here. There's a lot of people. There's a movement that is happening here around even King Charles coming to the States later this year for our 250-year anniversary. So they're even warning him not to come. That they are going to be putting out a big campaign against the king if he decides to visit President Trump here in the States. So it's only going to get worse. It's not going to help at all, his illness and everything he's dealing with, excuse me. So at this point, more needs to be done. Absolutely.
Yeah, I have seen this from the radical left in the US. And the thing is,
Mhm.
they do actually have a point when it comes to Epstein's victims. That's the problem. Big press conference on the steps of the US Capitol in Washington, D.C., ahead of Pam Bondi giving evidence today. And you've seen the hard left in the US are joining up with the hard left in the United Kingdom to start trying to make people think this could be the beginning of the end of the monarchy. So do you agree with Robert Jobson, who is the journalist closest to King Charles, who says what Charles needs to do is a national live television address? He almost needs to treat this crisis in the same way that Queen Elizabeth II treated the crisis after the death of Princess Diana, where she realized that her whole reign could be under threat. So all of a sudden, changed strategy, came to London and addressed her people. It did work for Queen Elizabeth II, P-Dina. Could it work for Charles, or is the
Absolutely.
situation just too out of hand?
I think it absolutely could work. It could help, certainly. And I remember when that happened with the Queen and Diana. Like, that was such a big error not to say anything, considering how beloved Diana was. And so, looking back and learning
Exactly,
from
as a
past,
queen and as a grandmother. You know, if
yes,
Charles could
exactly.
speak as a king and a
And a
grandfather
father,
of
yes,
two
yes.
young girls who he wants to be protected.
Yes, he needs to absolutely do that because the monarchy it has not a strong presence here. So unless there's something said where it gains national attention and we can see the king and we can hear what he is saying and his support for, the victims, his grandchildren, etc., that will go a long way. But trying to just put out a statement, no, no, people are not seeing that. No one understands what the king's stance is on this. They're just hearing the left and everything that's being said about the king, and that is what gets momentum, and the king needs to step up and get control of what is being said and to take it by the reins, so to speak, and say something, because not saying anything is causing so much damage. This is a story that is getting so big that he cannot overcome this with silence. Absolutely.
Exactly. And how much has so much of this been hiding in plain sight, P. Dina? You
Mm,
pointed out this video after the late Queen's death. This is Andrew comforting Eugenie with Beatrice by his side. And just look at the hand. Look at the hand. Now, of course, P-Dina, it could have been a slip of the hand. Literally, could have been.
Yeah, it could have.
But given what we're learning about the way that these girls were introduced to Epstein, let's just run that once more so people can have a look. But looking at the way that these girls were treated as pawns in the game with Epstein, the way that Fergie spoke about Eugenie being on that shagging weekend, it's just, it's so awful to see this, isn't it?
It really is. And to me, it says he's just so comfortable with the violation. It shows a lot more to me in terms of how willing he is willing to just do something like that in the open. I mean, there were people standing behind him. You would think that if you are a person that doesn't have like this sense of invading other people's boundaries, that is not something that you would do. You would clearly not hold on to her backside so long like that. And I even noticed when I slowed it down, there was a slight pause at the point. So Andrew, I think, has done so much that he doesn't even understand what proper boundaries are anymore because he feels so entitled to so much that he has already done. And I think that is just a little peek in the public into what his mindset is. That's my opinion about that. It's awful.
What's really interesting too, P-Dina, is that for a long time, the mainstream media here in the United Kingdom, and you know I've spoken about it a lot with you, have been enthralled with King Charles and the regime at Buckingham Palace. Amanda Platel of the Daily Mail has been used as one of the main attack dogs for King Charles and his communications secretary, Tobin Andre, who used to be her boss and my boss, it should be said, at the Daily Mail newspaper. But what has been so telling this week, remembering that the Mail is a real pro-monarchy publication, is that Amanda Platel is now warning of the end, saying that the monarchy could be over unless something changes. Now, of course, P-Dina, what she does is she drags William and Catherine into this, and I've noticed that a lot. What you're seeing at the moment from the Buckingham Palace team, and I don't like it, is not just throwing William and Catherine under the bus, but also throwing Queen Elizabeth II under the bus. It's grim. I think Charles needs to take responsibility. But let me just take you through her argument, P-Dina, then I'll get you to respond. So Amanda Platel writes, how are the royals going to put an end to this ruination of their reputation and re-establish themselves at the heart of British life? King Charles releasing Finding Harmony, A King's Vision, a well-meaning but hand-wringing and self-congratulatory documentary about how we can all find peace in nature is not the answer, with the greatest of respect. It won't bring solace to the millions of his subjects facing a crippling cost of living crisis. Feeling down, hug a tree. Tell that to the kids and their mums in high-rise blocks who are struggling to find the money for beans on toast in an urban hellscape without a tree in sight. Meanwhile, our reluctant king-in-waiting, Prince William, who understandably took time off when Kate became ill with cancer, is almost never to be seen unless it's for his worthy yet unremarkable Earthshot prize trying to save the world. He mostly seems to be whizzing around their property on his electric bike. Yes, that will be his 150-acre private home, Forest Lodge. Kate this week was out and about emoting heart-rendingly about how lonely her struggle against cancer has been. She was then pictured sewing some jeans for William in a factory in Wales. Hold the front page. I mean, she's been very facetious and nasty about William and Catherine, but I did explain that would be half the course. Our aging Queen Camilla, who's barely a few points above Harry and Meghan in the popularity polls, has been visiting a primary school's new library in London's Regent Park to teach deprived kids to read good, as Ben Stiller's Zoolander character Derek said in the movie. All very worthy, but the royals just don't get it, do they? It's not the planet they should be straining every sinew to protect right now, not sewing skills or the ability of the young to read. It is the monarchy. This is a crisis. And its very survival is at stake thanks to the disgrace Andrew has visited on the family. If the royals' current underwhelming performance is anything to go by, within a decade they will become as irrelevant as the Kingdom of Lesotho, population less than 3 million. Our cherished monarchy is supposed to be the foundation of British culture, our bedrock, our proudest and most enduring institution in a troubled world full of glitz and glamour and exuding soft power. It is under strain as never before. And the last thing it needs at this moment is to turn into a bleeding heart center for hug-a-tree therapy. So P-Dina, very tough on the royals, but what Amanda Patel seems to be suggesting is that actually the causes that Charles and William and Catherine are championing at the moment just aren't the right ones. I think it's a big tough. I think William and Catherine have been doing a good job. But what I think is most interesting about this column is that it shows that things are changing so much for the Daily Mail to even suggest this. Now, I'm trying to be balanced and nuanced in all of my coverage, P-Dina, especially as a monarchist and a royalist. I mean, this is an institution that has a huge propensity to be able to reinvent itself. I mean, just think of the abdication crisis and the fact that we had someone on the throne for such a short period of time who was actually a Nazi sympathizer. But there was a change of reign. They were exiled, and all of a sudden, you enter the second Elizabethan era, and everything was renewed. So I think there is still time, absolutely, for the royal family to renew and recharge. But does Amanda Patel have a point? Do you think the very future of the monarchy is currently at stake?
Absolutely. And I think what they need to also do is transition into more things around children. Now, we know Catherine is already doing that. And I think it'd be an easy transition for Catherine to continue her work with early learning and to educate girls and, boys about, things of the world. I mean, sex trafficking, human trafficking is a big subject right now. It's so scary in the world today, and that could be part of her message. So that could be something she could kind of hold on to show her support and to gain momentum and to get around this story. But I think when you have people such as myself and you and others who are on social media, there is so much being amplified around this work around trying to protect young people. And I think the work that the Royals are doing is good, but you have to get with the times. You have to start seeing that you need to show your alliance with what is being talked about amongst all these different platforms and showing how you align with that. Trying to just stick to what it is that you know and believe and what you want to connect yourself to is not enough. And this is the thing that will cost them, I believe, the monarchy. I mean, I'm an American. I don't know, of course, a whole lot about how that is in, the UK. But here in the States, I can feel this happening. I feel a lot of disdain for, or I see a lot of disdain for the monarchy. As a matter of fact, there was a senator, a congressman yesterday that I put on my channel that was actually saying that this could be the end of the monarchy.
Yes.
Now, when you have government officials saying this here, and you have people that are not really following like the monarchy and all the good works and all that, I mean, that is pretty
Yes.
loud.
And I mean, he
you
was
know?
wheeled out on Piers Morgan. I played the
Yeah,
clip
yeah.
too. What I would just say is that we always have to remember the political motivations. I mean, he is a radical, hard left Californian Democrat, as progressive as you get, not someone who wants to support the British royal family. But I do take your point because, of course, what is the footage that is going around the world? It is this,
Yeah.
P-Dina. It is every single member of the royal family, apart from Catherine, going out in public and being heckled by activists.